So we have an interesting query. Sukie wants to know if anyone.
It was interesting. Though,
I just told her that I'm one of the few gay men that likes vaginas. And I like.
I gave him my room key.
I like vaginas because they're always smiling. And I asked her if she'd ever seen a sad vagina.
No, you said, have you ever seen one? And I was at a loss.
I know you've seen one.
I didn't want to lose all my cool points.
I think this is already getting away from us.
I left my mirror at home.
Has anybody out there seen a sad vagina? No. See? That's my point. They're always smiling.
Okay. And we're back.
It's a good sign. We're already
And we're
laughing.
back. We're back.
Have we started yet?
No,
Okay.
no. I'll let you know.
Take control, Faye.
Oh, dear.
Yes, Faye, have you ever seen a sad vagina?
Maybe that's a
would've
pickup
written
line.
about it.
That's a pickup line in a lesbian bar.
She would say, yes, I left it in my other suit.
Oh my God, it's getting away from us already. Feel free to chime in.
dear.
Okay. I think I'll do the intro from up here. Is this live too?
We're live.
You would live, we're here.
Whoop. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
It's not
the vagina
quite.
seats.
We have 30 seconds,
The vagina seats.
but we started early.
This is the only time they say sit on
Sad
it. You
vaginas
actually
can easily fill 30 seconds of time.
Now it's going to get serious now.
You know, I think that's a great writing prompt.
Well, I mean,
Gets to work.
It actually is.
if a vagina sang a song, what would it be?
Who thinks I'm going to be in control here? Not a chance.
Lesson 1, vaginas are funny.
Right, all right.
It's a funny word, right?
All right.
It's a funny word.
V's
is it
are
not?
funny.
V's
All
are
right.
funny.
I've
All
s-
V's
I-
are funny.
I've seen them. Up
Oh, I know. I've lost it already. Okay. Hi. Okay.
Hi.
My name is Faye Jacobs. I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller. I write humorous essays, and I've had 6 books of my columns and tales published by Bywater Books. I'm also a sit-down comic, but I'm standing now. And many of the things I learned writing humor translated really well into performing. And for years, unfortunately, it's been a stereotype that lesbians have no sense of humor. There's an old joke. How many lesbians does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
That's not funny. In the 1960s, there was a play called Butterflies Are Free.
Yes.
And there's a line that says, if the guys are called gay, the girls should be called glum. Not true, not true, okay?
No, it's not
Lesbians are funny. The entire spectrum of LGBTQ plus alphabet can be funny. The truth is, you can write funny, and it is something that can be taught. I don't know that we're going to actually talk about that today, but see me if you're interested. You can learn to be funny, and
I have a response.
and
I disagree.
yes.
Ohio passes.
Okay, when I've lost it. All right. There's a reason why the words humor and humanity are so similar. In my experience, humor comes from the universality of experience. If you talk about something that people know about, you can make it funny. Absurdity or irony, and the third thing that every comic has to have is surprise. Okay? And of course, funny words. Anybody remember Neil Simon's play, The Sunshine Boys?
Yep.
A character says, words with a okay are funny. Pickle, Alka-Seltzer, chicken, that's funny. Words with L's are not funny. M's are not funny. And the truth of the matter is, when you are writing humor, that's the truth, okay? Now, these are some funny writers, and they're going to tell you how to find the funny. Are you prepared? Okay.
Is that what we're doing?
Heaven knows. Heaven
Find
knows.
yours.
We need to go to ground
Find yours.
these days and find the
Show me
funny.
yours.
Okay? So it will help us get through 2026.
Or at least the next 45 minutes.
Right. If we
1 minute
find
at a
the
time.
funny, okay? I want you all to introduce yourselves in any order you wish, and tell us a bit about where you use humor in your writing. Go.
My name
Your
is
name
Saint
is.
Sukie, apparently, according to Saint Sukie de la Croix. It's a stupid name. What was the question again?
How do you find the funny in your writing? What kind of things do you write? Introduce yourself.
Okay, I started out my career back in the early 70s. I knew a stand-up comedian. I'm going to use the words of the time and the words that he used for himself. He was spastic. And we used to sit around in a pub in England and come up with cripple jokes for him as we got drunk. But then I went into more serious journalism. But I always did a comedy column. I used to, for 6 years, I wrote a column in a paper called Capital Gay. And at the beginning, the editor said, I want you to piss everybody off. So we did. We were sued by a policewoman. I was accused of everything you could possibly imagine. And that's when I learned my big lesson. I co-wrote this column. I should not ignore my ex-lover who wrote it with me. We got a letter from a gay group for the blind. And what we didn't know is that they were putting our columns, which were outrageous and offensive, they were putting them onto cassette for the blind. But they were kind of irritated that we never wrote jokes about blind people. So I said, well, if we do that, we're going to get an awful lot of shit. But then I talked with my co-writer, and we were getting an awful lot of shit anyway, right? So we wrote a column about, I don't remember what the jokes were, but it was a blind tortoise. It was something funny about a blind tortoise. And the blind people loved it. They were inundated with complaints from people who could see. Inundated. But they didn't know we'd had contact with the blind group. So the editor found me and he said, look, everybody's pissed off about this. And I've discovered that when somebody complains about something you've done, make it worse. So I said, well, who gives a shit? Blind people aren't going to read it anyway.
And with that, we'll pass to Ann McMan.
I just want to say that, those sighted Shiite tortoises really are. I think for me, I learned how to be funny as a survival mechanism. I grew up in an alcoholic home in rural northwestern Pennsylvania, and I think this has actually been documented that you play different roles in that kind of household. And I was the youngest of four, and I became what's known as the mascot. And I figured out at a very young age that I could diffuse most of the worst family situations by being funny, by distracting people. So, I got very good at that. The other thing that worked really well, the other way humor worked really well for me is just as a way to distract people from really seeing me, because if you're funny and you're out there and you're outrageous and stuff, that's what they see, and they don't really see you. The other thing I wanted to share, to answer your question about what is funny, I learned the most important thing from the movie My Favorite Year. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That great movie. And do you remember where the guy is teaching the young woman how to be? Faye's comment that anyone can learn to be funny. He completely disagreed. He said the world is made up of two kinds of people: people who are funny, and anyone who plays the accordion professionally. And the only other thing, so I write serious fiction, but I also write humorous, and very often I blend them. I like to say that I write like a boxer fights. I dance around, and then I land a punch, and then I back up and let the person get a breather. I don't keep them on the ropes and continue to pummel them with my sad vagina. But that's how humor works for me. It's a vehicle to kind of deliver really serious content in a way that's digestible.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Genevieve Rheams. I just want to say that Pummel Them with My Sad Vagina is going to be my memoir.
Here, do you have your phone? They can have sex.
So, very similar. Actually, I was going to say a very similar kind of response to growing up in a alcoholic, repressed Catholic household, and that was my role. Was that I made everyone just kind of chill out and would diffuse moments and stuff like that with humor, but I also kind of use that as a coping mechanism, especially like through early adolescence and stuff. I would just read. Earlier we were chatting about like comics and stuff, like just the newspaper funnies, and I would get these comic books and just read them like until I could fall asleep, and whenever I was sad. So I think that just reading comic strips, like Calvin and Hobbes, like Outland and Bloom County and stuff like that, just absurd like slice of life scenario stuff, really kept me going and still does. And so that really became a part of my writing life. And having grown up in a repressed alcoholic Catholic household, I have a hard time with conflict, which is, it turns out you need that for stories. So it's sad, but it's true. So I find that I'll like write something and go like, oh God, I don't know if they're gonna fight. I don't know if I can handle this. But I know that they gotta.
Honey, of course they're gonna fight.
They're gonna, God damn, those bastards. They make me so uncomfortable. So to make myself comfortable sometimes with a story, I make them become absurd. I mean, they still have to come back to the thing that they are in conflict about, but it helps. I find that it helps me carry the story forward, and it turns out that when I talk to some of my readers, sometimes they actually like that too, that they're kind of being held throughout the story when these people are fighting about stuff.
We didn't disclose that this is really a 12-step meeting.
Hello, I'm Genevieve.
So my parents were not alcoholics, but they were military. I grew up in a military Catholic family.
Oh, that's close.
So, close enough. I was a playwright for years and years and years before I started writing fiction, and I was so desperate to be a serious writer. I mean, I wanted to be Ibsen. And I wrote what I finally thought was my serious play, and it got produced in a town across the country, and I could not afford to go see the premiere production, but they were nice enough to send me a review. And it said, so-and-so Playhouse, is proud to present a delightful new comedy by Eric C. Peterson. God. And I wrote back to I said, seriously? And the director was like, yeah, there's a laugh a minute. I mean, it just hits all the, and it is because I the same kind of thing. I write about people who go through some really serious shit, but they do it with a sense of humor. So my characters know they're funny, which is a different kind of comedy than people who are just dealing with wacky. I don't write a lot of wacky, funny situations where people don't realize that what's happening to them is actually very funny. I tend to write about smart people who go through some serious stuff, but they crack jokes along the way to kind of get through it.
And if it makes you feel better, I think Albert Camus also got reviews like that for The Plague.
Well, apparently Chekhov writes comedies, according to,
Absolutely.
Three Sisters, a
It's all out
comedy,
there.
rollicking good
Right.
time.
Samuel
Okay.
Beckett, like right up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. yeah.
So,
if you
but
don't
I
fall
mean,
asleep, you'll start laughing.
I
But
think
again,
Godot is actually here. I think-
but I think it kind of does lend. This isn't what this is about, but that whole idea that comedy is somehow less than, and there's so many people who want to do all this serious kind of. But some of the greatest writers ever. And I tell you what, if Ibsen could write a joke like Oscar Wilde, he would have, but I don't think he could.
Well, it's
I don't
kind of
think he
hard
could.
when you name a character Hedda Gabler.
That could be really funny.
Is that a funny?
The gobbler jokes just write
I
themselves.
know they do.
Gobbler.
I mean,
You're right.
Gobbler.
You're right. Yep.
If they had been cast as chickens, yeah, it would have
Chickens are
would have
funny.
made so much more sense.
Oh, yes.
I
Also,
think
I
Lee
did
Volman
have-
could have pulled that off.
I did
too.
have a thought about words that are funny
And
that
words that
start
are
with
not.
M. Moose? That's hilarious.
That's used to funny.
Yeah,
menstruation.
just that's
Hilarious.
hysterical.
Hilarious.
Well, if you have a sad vagina, it's
Well-
very funny.
Even funnier.
Tragic menstruation. A new memoir by-
Muselix. That's a good. Well, there are people, Faye.
All right, well, I think we're right into my next question here. Which is talk a little bit about sentence structure. Can you talk about how it's funny? Where do you find the funny?
Well, the funny bit goes at the end, right? It's
Well,
just,
no, when it's the punchline.
Well, that's
Well,
it.
alliteration for sure.
Yeah, but so
No,
it's like,
I think what you first write, the sentence you write, I think you need to look at it. If there's a chicken in the sentence, you need to look at it and think, well, I do anyway, is a duck funnier? And I spend a lot of my time wondering if a duck is funnier
And
than a
how's
chicken in this
how's that
sentence.
first book coming along?
I've published 15 books.
Obviously, you were able to answer the question.
That's a good answer, then.
I think that sometimes it's also the way that, like we were just talking about, the way that a word sounds. Like I read the Douglas Adams,
Hitchhikers.
series, like just, I don't know, in a month. Like I just couldn't stop reading them. And I remember one of the lines that I could not stop giggling at was "mountains flitted by like mountain goats," and it's just so flitted by like mountain goats was so ridiculous to me that I could not stop laughing. I don't even know what he was talking about.
I think
didn't matter,
But he was He was British, and I think British humor is different to American humor. Certainly.
That's true.
In Britain, there's absolutely no respect for authority whatsoever.
They also have punctuation.
They also, yes.
They do.
When I came over here, the
Semicolons.
first thing I discovered that if you know what a semicolon is in America, you have an advantage.
Your AI.
M dashes.
What about like there's also, this is not rocket science, is it? But particularly with humor, there's like the whole,
there's a
the
rhythm.
meter,
Yeah.
like the meter of
Yeah.
the way the words,
Yeah,
the
timing.
number of
Timing.
syllables they have,
Yeah.
the way they naturally flow together, all of that.
And that whole rule of three. I wrote down one thing that one of the funniest lines ever for me was, and you probably all heard this before, but Carrie Fisher was talking about how her father left her mother for Elizabeth Taylor. And she said, he first dried her eyes with his handkerchief, then he consoled her with flowers, and he ultimately consoled her with his penis. Rule of three, funny bit goes at the end. It's just,
Are we
there's
doing
just-
funny? Are
Yeah.
we doing funny lines? Our favorite lines?
Go- funny line, go
I
for
have
it.
a favorite funny line.
Go ahead.
I don't even know if this is true, but apparently it is. Oscar Wilde's last words. He said, "Either this wallpaper goes or I do."
Well, we know who won that one.
Yeah, we do. No grave with wallpaper in it.
ask a quick question. You're talking about written humor, not your routines when you perform.
I mean, like now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This fun.
Yeah.
It's a little of both.
it
It
is.
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Because you
It's-
write this, you write the same,
You're
you
not
write
Yeah.
the
supposed to
same way.
stop your line when you're performing and say, "Oh, I meant a duck, not a chicken," when you said something.
Right. No, that is right.
So that's all I just
I have performed, but I always have to write a script, or else I can't just make. It's because I still in control. If I was to stand up, the audience is a part of that thing. I don't trust an audience. So I used to do a thing called
Be on your guard.
I used to do a thing called I've got the hungriest pussy in town, but it doesn't involve the audience getting involved.
Unless
That's all.
they want to be.
But I think it's the same. I mean,
Consensual
I always, when I read, I always kind of hear the words in my head. I think that, we had a
Yes.
whole
100%.
whole conversation with Donna Winkowitz on, was it Thursday morning, Friday morning? About rhythm, about how English has stressed syllables and you have to think about rhythm. And again, if you're kind of going for a punchline, the reader, if your book is really funny and people are going to laugh, they're going to hit that punchline and they're going to laugh before they read the rest. Just like when you're performing and you have to hold for laughs, but you want to make sure that you don't have to explain the joke. As soon as you have to explain a joke, it's not funny anymore. So it has to go right at the end, and then give them a spot to kind of look up, roll their eyes, laugh, and then get back into the book. Because if you do the funny bit too early, and then you have to explain why that was funny, it's not funny.
Yeah,
But-
I do find that in storytelling, like live storytelling, which I really love to do. I love that probably just as much as I love writing. It does like I usually write something out so that I know the basic, beginning, where I'm going, and then the end. But I do find that the audience does change it, like the way that they react to me and
Yeah.
stuff, which is a different kind. It gives me a different kind of energy. But the thing that I love about writing stuff down, and I do read things out loud, just to, we're talking about like rhythm and the way words, feel when you say them out loud. And I end up editing a lot from just reading it out loud, but I feel like I can put more of the story on the page because it's the, sorry. Because it is that element of like control. Now I am in total control of this
Right.
narrative, and whatever the audience is thinking, like I have no idea where they take it after that.
I think the other thing that's true, at least for me, in the way I use humor in my books, because I don't write. I don't know. I could ask my editor. I don't write books that are strictly comedic, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you do.
use humor.
The Big Toe is hilarious.
The Big Toe. I mean, what's not funny about two lesbians who repossess cars in the South? What is not to? What could possibly go wrong?
And the book is The Big Toe,
Everything.
TOW. I was halfway through the book before I was like, oh, the big toe. That's funny.
They repossess a limousine and discover the trunk is full of dildos, that are all packing cocaine. These are not your training.
But I don't write funny books, she says.
No, but I mean, I was going to try to make a terribly erudite comment.
It's a waste of time.
But it's like you put humor in there, but the humor is not always the point. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be funny, but it still has to do its heavy lifting, and it has to move the story along. Otherwise, it doesn't belong in there.
And when you first sent me that question about sentence structure, the two things that I thought of is that there are twice in my book where somebody goes on a rant, and they're the longest sentences I've ever wrote, but they're so angry about the stupidest stuff that is part of what made those moments funny.
Right.
Is just the lack of a period. Just made it, and go on and on, angry and angry and angrier. You can take a little bit of distance and laugh at that, as opposed to
Well, kind of
just-
like Julia in Designing Women,
yeah.
right?
And that, Marjorie, so that you know, and that your children will know. Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, talk about the names of your latest books and what they are and why they're funny.
I've just finished. Oh God, I got to remember the title of it.
Is it
The
another
Hunt-
Brian and
Is it about a
Stefan? Those
No,
titles are
chicken.
crazy.
That's-
Chickens.
No, I've got a series of 6 books called Twilight Manors. The first one is God's Waiting Room. The last one is The Hunt for the Hairdo Killer, and it's about 2 gay men, a gay couple who retire to Palm Springs for a quiet life, and everything goes wrong. And somehow they manage to solve crimes along the way. One of the reviews said this book is hilarious, and he's thrown in a mystery. But the one I've just finished, The Hunt for the Hairdo Killer, someone is putting some kind of balm or something into women's hair curlers. And offhand, I can't remember why, because I'm working on the next book and I only do 1 book at a time. But I did get an email from, signed a feminist, and she said I was horrified and upset and offended by every page in your book, and I laughed my ass off on every page.
Great review, great review.
I guess, I mean, not my book that's coming out, because that ain't funny. But my most recent book is a rom-com called Switch, and I have a tendency to make the protagonists of my books, they're all kind of like Dickie Smothers, without was it a bass or wasn't a cello, whatever it was. I mean like
stand-up bass.
the most boring flat liner person, the person who never gets the jokes, and everything that happens around them is just insane. So that's kind of my approach. Switch is about a woman who's a train conductor who, has a sad vagina and absolutely cannot meet the right woman. So she, her best friend puts her on a dating app, and she ends up with a dozen epically horrible first dates in different cities, and they're all a different romance trope each date. So
I don't know who Dickie Smothers is. Do you know what that
What?
sounds like if you don't know who it is?
you don't know who Dickie
The Smothers
Smothers
Brothers?
is?
No, what I heard was, I thought it was
We had a
smothered.
brother.
I thought it was a smothered
Oh.
Dickie.
I honestly thought of all fucking conferences, this would be the one
Yes.
that would get a
I've-
Dickie Smothers joke.
I'm from England. I took a lot of acid in the 60s.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
expect too much from me.
Okay.
Dickie Smothers? No, I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about...
that's the opposite of a sad vagina, I think.
I'm not answering. All right, kids.
Okay,
Wait,
Genevieve.
wait, 2 more.
We got 2 more.
Oh yeah. So in We Will Plant Birds of Paradise, the plot isn't actually that funny. It's about a woman who comes out in her early 30s. She's married to a man. She gets divorced. She has a couple of kids. She's, in love with her best friend. Like that's kind of that's not really unique as a plot, like a lesbian in love with her best friend. But I guess that the funny parts in it are because it is it's a family narrative. I mean, the perspectives are the woman herself, Jess, and her aunt, who's been a lifelong lesbian, and her 10-year-old son. And so it's really like humor through a lot of family dynamics. Like at one point when she comes out to her mother, who's a very conservative Catholic, who also just doesn't listen very well, and she's trying to talk to her, and she's like, I have something to tell you, and her mom says, yep, I knew it, you got divorced because you fell in love with a married man, and he refuses to leave his wife. And she's like, no, go on, tell me more about like, rather than come out, she's like, keep going, tell me more what you think is the problem. So like just little situational stuff like that, just to get through these things that I actually don't think are that uncommon. People coming out later might have a couple of kids, and just the regular stuff that you go through with that are horribly stressful and also sometimes horribly funny.
Yeah. So my book, Loyalty, Love, and Vermouth, was based on a real-life situation that Faye and I lived through. I came home one day from work, and I'd been robbed, and my computers were gone, and my TV was gone, and they stole my dog.
Oh my God.
Not funny. She was gone for 36 hours. We got her back. The dog does not die. The dog, spoiler alert, the dog does not die. And along the way, the found family comes together to help this guy both, put 2 feet in front of the other because his dog's been kidnapped. But also they tell jokes. I mean, they just kind of keep each other going through. And again, this is about smart people. At one point somebody asks the adoptive lesbian mother, how do you take your coffee? And she says, as black as Dick Cheney's soul. And that's just, that's how we kind of get through all of this, stuff. And so again, it's not funny in terms of plot at all. But it's got some jokes. And then, and then it also has flashbacks to the end of a disastrous relationship. And there's always, funny to be found in the pain of that. The breakup letter where he just finally, the tidal wave of resentment comes out, and it gets all the way to, how does a grown man not know how to wipe? That comes out too. So
Wipe what?
Well, and I think that, like, what you were talking about, how the plot isn't necessarily, like, it's not absurd, it's not cartoonish, it's not hilarious. But one of the things that I really look for when I read a book is the dynamic between characters. And so when you have characters that are, like, not exactly, like either they play off of each other or they're absolutely falling apart with each other, and it's kind of funny to read, like, those dynamics I'm really interested in writing and reading.
If you stand somewhere around 1963, I realized when I discovered I grew up in an atheist family, but when I discovered what religion was and I started looking at what politics was, I realized that this wasn't going to work for me at all, this world. So I kind of stepped outside of it and observed it. And when you step outside of the human race and you watch what other people are doing, people are hilarious.
How do you step outside the human race? I mean,
No,
I feel
mentally.
cheated.
transcendental meditation.
Yeah,
Chia.
I mean, I don't mean this like literally. I don't believe in space aliens and that, but it's almost like I came from another planet, and I'm watching.
I've only been sitting next to you for 20 minutes, and I believe that.
That's because you've got a sad vagina.
I'm going to take her
Most
out
of my
later.
readers have sad vaginas. That's my audience.
All right. I guess I have another question. Who is your mentor?
Your
Who has
comic
been
Hero,
mentor?
oh.
How
Your
about
comic
a
idol?
writer or a comic who you feel has given you some tools to do what you do?
I've got something.
Oh, okay.
It has to be John Cleese.
Oh, good one.
yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Good
And
Good one.
I want to meet him one day because I'm going to ask you the question that I want to ask him. Why is it that some jokes are really funny the first time you hear them,
Oh.
and they're not funny the second time you hear them? Other jokes are
Are funny
funny
every time you hear them.
every
Every
single
single
time.
time.
I don't know if you're familiar with the British TV show Are You Being Served?
Yeah, oh, God. Everybody's queer in here, of course. Yeah.
But what I've seen it 100 times when Mrs. Slocum talks about her pussy.
Her pussy.
When she,
I rubbed my pussy all night.
when she phones a neighbor and says, "Could you go around and throw a sardine through my letterbox for my pussy?"
For
you
my
know?
pussy.
And it's always
funny.
It's always funny. And yet some
I heard
jokes are
this.
funny once.
I heard this joke one time. This is a terrible joke, but it gets the point across about a bunch of guys in prison, right? They're lifers. They've all been in there for 30 years. They're never getting out. Every night after lights out, they don't even bother to tell the jokes anymore. They're all numbered. So they just, 82, and everybody, 117, and they go on and what. And there's this
Bingo.
new guy who just got sent up, down, whichever way you go. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to try this. So he waits for an opening and he says, 18. And nobody laughs. And the man who's sharing the cell with him says, son, it's all in the way you tell a joke. I'm reluctant to answer this question truthfully because
it.
I don't want to be. I'm serious. No, it's
He's been canceled.
Yes, he's been canceled, and I mean, and full disclosure, I'm a survivor of childhood sexual violence. So with that as a precursor,
Is it Bill Cosby?
no, Woody
not
Allen.
funny.
Woody Allen, honest to God, but I mean, which opens up a bigger issue that's not funny. You know, how do we handle that when like icons and lions of
Yeah.
our culture,
Fuck up.
But nevertheless, Woody Allen really taught me how to write humor, because the man's short stories are genius. I
Yeah.
doubt you'll read them now.
He wrote short
but he
stories?
wrote, God, yes.
Oh yeah.
Iconic collection called Side Effects. That's, so I have to be truthful.
Well, now my vagina's sad.
So's mine. Mine's crying, weeping helplessly in the corner.
Any inspirations that are not?
Woody Allen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, lots. Donald Bartlemy. Do you all know Donald Bartlemy? Genius. Overnight to Many Distant Cities. I mean, incredible short story writer. Very funny. Fran Lebowitz.
Oh yeah.
Who wrote one of the funniest things I've ever read. It was an essay about dining room furniture. Duncan Fife. Now that's funny.
We're ready for your heroes.
Oh, right. The first one that comes to mind is, of course, like David Sedaris. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
hysterical. If only I didn't worry about hurting my family's feelings as much as he doesn't seem to. He's just like, let me tell you. But he's hysterical, and just his writing style and storytelling style is so good. When I was a kid, I used to read David Barry columns. Dave Barry. Dave Barry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I loved his stuff, there was something you were saying about like when a joke is funny and like you could hear it again and again, and sometimes it doesn't. To me, I discovered that my sense of humor might be different when I went to go see the Bob's Burgers movie, and I was laughing at parts where the entire theater was silent. And I was like, what is wrong with me? But I realize this because I laugh at tone of voice a lot. So like I was saying earlier, I'm a giggly bitch. Like it's just because if you say something in a certain way, even if it's not funny, I'll go, oh wait, I'm sorry. And I could hear, like in the movie Napoleon Dynamite,
Oh my God, that's good. Uncle
it gets
Rico.
funnier every single time I watch it.
Eat your fucking dinner, Tina.
He's throwing casserole at a llama. And then he says, do the chickens have large talons? Like, I could listen to that over and over and never stop.
I like your sleeves. They're big.
I'm so gay about that because all of mine are women. Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
obviously,
Oh, yeah.
and to your point about tone of voice, Carrie Fisher brought to life by Meryl Streep and Shirley MacLaine, even funnier.
Yeah, Meryl Streep is a good comedic
She is
actress.
hilarious.
She's so
She's
funny.
very funny.
Yeah.
But the other one for me that I just thought of was, has anyone read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy?
Yes!
Okay, so the prologue of that book is, and it's about an abusive childhood. Stage mom put her daughter through hell. Daughter did not want to be an actress, but you will be an actress because
She
I
was
have
on
dreams.
iCarly, right?
Yeah,
She was one of the kids
yeah.
on iCarly.
And just went through, gave her an eating disorder. I mean, just had all kinds of abuse that was going. The prologue is the mom is finally. It opens up and the mom is dying of cancer, and she's probably not going to wake up. So, but if you want to say goodbye, you probably should. And she describes this thing that happens when you're saying goodbye to somebody in a coma, that you try to say something that might just rouse them, either something that, an expression of love or something that might make them so happy. And dad takes his turn, and her two brothers kind of take their turns, and then they've said their goodbyes and they just don't want to hang around anymore. So they leave, and she's alone with her mother, and she says, I know what's going to make my mom stir. And she grabs her mother's hand. And she says, Mommy, I'm so skinny, I'm down to 89 pounds. which is horrific. I mean, she's a grown woman and she weighs 89 pounds. And this is just emblematic of but also how much she loves her mother, that she wants to share this and I laughed my ass off. I mean, and that's something that I think that, funny women are really underrated. Because in terms of stand-up, Joan Rivers was the queen. Nobody touched her.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Talk
Nobody
about
touched her.
inappropriate
Yeah.
too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She had no fucks to give.
No, she did not, and that's my next question.
Remember what she said about Elizabeth Taylor?
She drinks Pepsi Heavy.
She had her ears pierced and gravy ran out.
I love to take her to McDonald's to eat, just to sit outside and watch the numbers change. Yeah.
All right, next question.
Okay, anybody read Augustine Burroughs?
Oh, God, so
yes,
funny.
Very funny. The funniest one I can remember is when he checked into rehab.
Dry.
And the whole sequence of his checking in to rehab, they asked him if he drank mouthwash.
Lavoris is big with
There
a
you
twist.
go. And his whole thing on, no, I don't think I've gotten to that. But he is a gem.
Yeah, that's a thing, yeah.
If you want to know why things are funny.
And now, is he, I didn't bring my checklist. Is he canceled now?
Maybe. I don't know. You just don't know. Well, that's what I was going to ask. How do you keep it funny without offending?
You don't?
No.
Oh, you got me here.
I don't know if you can.
Wait until all
No.
your relatives
Okay,
are dead.
so I make my living during the day in the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
What
So
you used to?
before
You got fired?
No, he got
before
canceled.
McTaco 2.0 like wrecked all my clients, and anyway, but I still do. The little money that I do make, I still make in that field. So I just personally, not telling anybody else what to write or what to do, but I'm always a little, I could lose clients if So my golden rule is punching up is funny, punching down is not funny for me.
I have to challenge you.
Yeah.
I have to challenge you on that.
Not funny. Punching down is
Now,
dangerous.
I
for
want
me.
to name a group of people that you consider to be punching down. Because I don't consider anybody to be down.
I would say,
And also punching. My comedy isn't punching. I'm trying to make people laugh. You said that last time, and I wanted to say that last time.
well, and
Last
again, so then don't punch, But for me, punching up is still funny.
I don't know what you mean by down, though.
Down
I'm
is to
familiar
me,
with that phrase.
yeah, to me that's just any group that has less power in this world than me. I'm a white person, so I get better salaries, better health care, better
You definitely get
protection
better
from the
hair
police.
product.
Well, thank you. Why, thank you.
Yeah, but you haven't
but
named
so
a
for
group.
me to tell a joke at the expense of people of color, I'm not going to
it's-
do it, and I'm not going to say that anybody else. Write what you. I'm a big believer in the First Amendment. I'm not here to police any because
No.
because on the other side of this is the perennially offended purity police, right? Who So I went to the No Kings thing yesterday, and I wrote a sign that I was very proud of. I thought it was to the point and also a little funny. It read, "I refuse to be overthrown by anyone this stupid." And I was told by the internet that my sign was ableist. And I as a diversity and inclusion professional, I went, oh shit, did I just, I looked up the word stupid. Stupid never meant anyone with intellectual disabilities. Stupid meant somebody who was in shock. So a temporary disability, but someone who was stupefied, stupor, all of that kind of, So that's what stupid meant. And to me, I think most people know there's a difference between someone who isn't capable of intellectual thought versus someone who has access to critical thinking skills and chooses not to use them.
Right.
Because they never had to, because they can fail upwards because they're just not that bright. Not the sharpest spoon in the bucket, as my grandmother used to say. But I do think that it's an interesting conversation to have around humor, is that when are you going to... Now, some people have no fear of being canceled, and they are a lot freer. Because of my professional life, I need to steer clear of that. So I have a few rules, but I won't make jokes at the expense of people who have less power than me.
Is the sharpest spoon in the bucket a spork?
I think she was mixing metaphors to comic effect. But again, now that you have to explain
No,
a
you
joke,
get
it's
those
not funny anymore.
You get those at KFC with the mashed potato. Well, just kind of.
I don't think.
I
that-
have a solution
Oh,
for.
good.
Excuse me. I have a solution for that. Like I punch myself.
Yes.
Right.
That's how I do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, boy, is that ever punching down. But
you just did it.
But yeah, thank you. But that's how I do it. I find
Self-deprecating humor
humor.
is
great.
You can, I can hit everything. And believe me, I'm like the pot of minestrone on the back of the stove. It's all raked in there.
And there's a lot of humor that doesn't have to come at anybody's expense. That's not that.
But if
not
it's at
every
your
joke.
own, if it's at your own, you can get away with
Yeah.
it.
Or at people who are gay people making fun of straight people is hilarious.
Oh my God. Do it
You
all the
know,
time.
and honestly,
Bless
people
their
of color
hearts.
who go off on white people, hilarious. I mean, I can listen to that and I can read it. And again, I'm not here to. I don't want to be the purity police because I do think they go way too far often, and I have my issues on the other side as well. It's very complex, but for me personally, I'm very wary of taking a group of people that has less power than me and kind of making jokes about them. I don't personally do it.
Yeah, and I think that when I was saying before that I don't know if it's possible, it's because I think that once you write something and it becomes, open to the public, it's really, I don't have any control over how
Yeah.
people react. I don't have, I can try as hard as I want to not make someone feel bad about themselves in any way. And in the end, like I've had, and it's happened not often, but a few times where people are like, well, I don't understand why you said that. They took it in a way that I never intended, but at the same time, once my work is out there, it is theirs to take. I can't, I just
you've
can't
lost
control what they think or feel. Or the best I could do is listen.
I don't look down on anybody, so I don't cut people out of my humor. So what you call people of color, I treat as equal. So I will go after them the same as any other group. If somebody's 4'6", whatever that's called these days,
Short.
Vertically challenged.
short,
Yeah.
and they have a sad vagina, they're open for it. What happens
Sad
then?
vaginas
what-
are not open for anything.
Don't be funnier than me. While I'm speaking.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Well, it's this funny. I thought of this when I was walking in here. It's just one line. What do trans women wear in Saudi Arabia?
Oh God, I'm dying to know what.
There's no answer to it. Think about it. Do they wear burqas? And how would you know if they were trans or not?
That's a good point. This is a teaching moment.
But is it
Please don't learn anything. Don't learn anything from me.
It's not
please.
funny. It's not funny.
No, it's a question.
It is a question.
I always ask myself, not is the person. Oh, the other thing I want to say is, if you do say something that offends people, I'm offended all the time. When I see a menu with meat on it, I'm offended. I don't want people to stop eating meat. When I'm walking on the street and I see that cross with that sad Jewish man on there, the vagina man, I can't remember his name, Elvis, whatever his name is. Children look at that man being tortured. That offends me. I don't want that to take it down. That's other people's belief. But if you do offend people, you have to take what you're going to get from them. Mm-hmm. And I've developed the art of really, truly, maybe it's because I'm 74 years old, I don't give a fuck. It's read something else. I can tell you now, if you're one of those people that's offended by everything, don't read my books. And don't read them and complain to me. Because when I get a complaint from people, I get an erection. That was funnier than the Saudi Arabia joke?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I have a question that I'm curious to get y'all's thoughts on too. I'm sorry, I know I'm not
Go
moderating.
for it. Go for it.
So, if the nature of art is supposed to provoke, to shock, and honestly, that is sometimes why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you were saying, the woman who read your every page offended her, every page made her laugh
Right.
out loud.
Right.
And that is the essence, I believe, of what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to like provoke you and make you think and make you talk about it. So I was just curious about what y'all think about, like, because I'm trying to develop my own thoughts about this, about how that relates to humor, where we try not to provoke anyone, but ultimately sometimes we do, and sometimes it's not a bad thing.
What's the first thing that fascism does? It goes after art and books.
And comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
comics.
right.
Comics are the first to go.
And you will get, and I get it from the left, and I get it from the right. I get exactly the same thing. I was here a few years ago. I said nothing. I should have said something. There was a woman here from Germany at one of the panels, and she said she thinks that books that are sexist should be banned. And what I should have said to her, well, Germany invented that. The banning of books. The burning of books.
Oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
How could she sit there? How could she sit there as a woman, a German woman, and say that? That they
And
should
what
be
is sexist
banned?
to you might not be sexist to, again, we live in an interesting time where, again, there are going to be people who, and I would just say, I think Genevieve's got it right, is be prepared to stand by whatever it is you write. Look at it. If it's
Right.
funny to you, and if you feel okay, and if you feel good with it, you put it out there in the world, and somebody might be all up in arms about it, but if you can sleep at night saying, nope, I stand by this, then that's what you do. I'm a bigger believer in the First Amendment than kind of freedom of expression and all that kind of than anything else. But we've had a lot of conversations about this because of my career path, and because I do believe that the isms are real. I think it's a lovely thing to say, I treat everyone as an equal, but the system does not treat everyone as an equal. It just doesn't. So, that's something that is just a reality that I have to keep in mind.
Talking about this,
Somebody's got a question.
Someone does a hand raise.
I just want to say I'm German, and this is my fourth Saints and Sinners, and I apologize for stupid German.
Was it
You don't have to.
It wasn't you.
okay, good. I'm glad for that.
I'm sorry. There are stupid
I wish it was, because I would love to talk to that woman.
And remember, stupid means in shock.
Means what?
In shock.
Right. Okay, now, how can we talk about things in 2026 when they're going after us? And in general, can you talk about how you feel about writing comedy and writing humor in the LGBTQ market, in publishing? Where is there a space for us? Can you talk about that?
Well, my publisher is my husband.
Well, that's easy, okay.
That's a
Good.
sweetheart deal.
No,
And
no.
McMan, do you have a comment about that? About where there is a space for humor?
I think every space is a space for humor. I mean, it's it belongs everywhere. I mean, I would be unable to write anything if I couldn't include comedic content. I don't know if that answers your question. I will say this as a word of advice from my personal experience. Do not ever become part owner of the company that publishes you. Because then it's like you want your books to be perforated, so you can just rip pages out and go, yeah, this isn't going to sell.
But Virginia and Leonard Wolf? Leonard? Was that her?
Leonard, yeah.
Leonard,
Yeah.
You got them. Oh, well, things didn't end very well for her.
No.
Never mind. You go.
No, that was...
I guess my question was also partially something about, we have talked about, is there a great respect for humor in our community?
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah.
And
I
to
think
answer
so.
your first question, though, I'll go back to your first one. There is an old saying in the social justice movement that joy is a form of resistance.
Yes.
And I think that's really true, is that
Yes,
when
it
you
is.
are in a tough time like we're in, if you allow the people who are trying to smash us down to steal all the joy out of our lives, they've already won.
Right.
You know, and so to allow yourself moments, that's why it's like it's important to go out with your friends and grab a cocktail and laugh about things and read things that give you joy and make you laugh and all that, just to even if it's just to give yourself a reprieve. And then there's also, you know, the Jimmy Kimmels of the world who just, you know, and that to me, that's punching up. I mean, he is landing some punches on these folks. Funny as hell, but that's also important to kind of feed your, you know, that kind of resistance kind of thing. So absolutely, I think that, you know, I actually think it's more important during times like this.
So you're right, because they tried to ban our parades, and they tried. That's what they hate us for. That
Yeah.
they hate us because we're funny.
And if we can have the most fun in the world at a pride parade now, that's even more.
Right.
And it is a form of resistance, and that's
But-
what, you know, yeah.
But you can do it. I mean, you can do it in every way. Like, to me, the most iconic example of it is Robin Williams in The Birdcage, trying to give that dancer motivation for his. You know, he's like, I don't get it, and he's like,
Michael Kidd.
this is an epic piece full of mythic themes, but you need to do an eclectic celebration of the dance. Then he does the whole Fosse, 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 you know, Martha Graham, Madonna.
Right.
But it's like,
But you keep it all
but you keep it all inside. I had a professor in college, a philosophy professor, who had this. You remember when Ronco was putting out all the like iconic songs of the 60s, you know, like on one album and all. And he said that somebody really should record all of the songs of all major world religions simultaneously at full volume at the same time, and then erase them so that what you get is the silence. Damn. That was funny.
Brilliant idea.
Work with me.
The sad vagina joke was funnier.
Right?
It started us
You have to,
Yes.
as long as you throw bodily fluid in there, you know, it's just going to be.
Absolutely.
No, I think that it keeps us connected, you know, to each other. Like the ability to like laugh with each other and joke around, especially like as a community. I mean, the times that I look back on yesterday and the times I've been at this conference, the things that I think about are the times when I laughed with people. That really got me excited about going home and writing more and feeling part of something. It makes you, when you laugh with a room full of people,
No, you're
you feel
right.
included. It's
Yeah.
this
You're
great,
right. I mean, we've just met,
joyous
so we're
energy.
bonding already.
We are.
And there's a lot of truth in the whole. It's funny because it's true.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, sometimes you just say something that is just so mind-blowingly true that
Right.
people just laugh.
Right.
And you know, in times like this, telling the truth is really important. And so if you can get people, if you're doing that, it's funny because it's true thing, and you get a laugh, then you know that it worked, and you wrote something that connected.
And the impetus for humor is around you all the time. You don't have to make it up.
Oh, everything's funny.
All you have to do
my
is
God, yeah.
pay attention. Just pay attention. Like, we had an Uber ride the other day, and you know, this. I mean, what is with the traffic in this city? You know, I mean, it's like, but anyway, and the driver is just sitting there placidly, like eating sunflower seeds, because I kept hearing this little crack, crack, you know, and then I looked down and he had. I mean, okay, I thought that was funny. I mean,
is
that's
funny.
totally going in.
People are funny.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just everywhere.
It
The
is
most
everywhere.
mundane things can be hilarious.
Every
and-
day in Palm Springs, I go and sit in a cafe for about an hour, and I listen to other people's conversations.
Me too, and I steal
Right.
liberally.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't do this, but sometimes I have my phone and I record it, dialogue. People are funny when they
Yeah.
don't think they're funny.
Yeah, I heard
And
this.
people are also there. I'm stunned by how incredibly tedious some people's lives are.
I heard these two women in line at the post office one day. You know, I had like a package or something, and we were like there for 4 hours. You know, and they were talking about women who've had those chemical salt peels. You know, and one of them said, "I don't know what that mess is about. Them women look like they've been left on the hot dog roller at Sheetz." Is that in a book? Yes. Tell this. I was writing a book about a mortician. You want to like not have sales. But so I needed something. I needed like a really funny anecdote. So of course I called Faye, and she said, "Oh, I've got one for you." This family who had like the matriarch of the, getting cremated, and it was very somber, and they went to the funeral home to pick up the remains, and they got it home and sat around the table, and then they opened the box, and it was a cheese ball.
True story.
Real life.
Hey, wait, can
Real
I
life.
mention a name that I can't believe I forgot to mention, but it is related to something I want to write about, and I might have to get permission. Anyway, so Tig Notaro. You guys know Tig Notaro.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Love Tig. Best, like, just deadpan humor. So my daughter was working at Whole Foods, and Tig actually comes into Tig. We're like that. So she comes into New Orleans a lot because she's got family that lives around here. And my daughter is working in the dairy section at Whole Foods, and she sees this woman who looks really familiar. And the woman comes up, and it is Tig Notaro, spoiler. But she comes up and she's like, "I was told to look for this one kind of yogurt. I don't know." And it's this like French yogurt. And Emma knew where it was, but before she connected like who she was, she's like, "She looks so familiar." And then Emma says, "Yeah, hey, do I know you from my mom's softball team?" And Emma, bless her heart.
I think in a universal sense, yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Yes. The
And
answer
to her
is
credit,
yes.
I have played a lot of softball, like not in the last couple of years, but Tig Notaro does look like pretty much all my friends.
Well, and here's
So-
the other reality: we'll swing at anything.
I was in a lesbian bar in Chicago covering some event. It was a drag queen event for the newspaper. And I went in, of course, the urinal was completely empty. So I went in, I'm peeing, and then this napkin comes in front of me and it's a woman asking for my autograph.
What is your autograph?
I said, "Well, I've only got one hand."
Do you mind if I tap first?
But sitting here, I have decided I don't have to ask Tig Notaro's permission to say that story. I'm going to write about it anyway.
Yeah, I
Good.
think you should.
Yeah.
I think the audience may have some
Oh,
questions
okay.
now.
Oh, I thought you'd say something. Does it involve guppies?
All right, who's got the questions? Go for it.
I have several, but I'll stick to one for now.
Okay.
Do you find a particular voice easier to write humor than other voices, like first person?
I don't do first person.
Ever?
Ever, no.
Not even in his own life.
No. No. I don't even know what you mean. What is this first person thing?
What is this thing you speak of?
I mean, I think if you're doing wacky situations, it doesn't really matter. I think that, for me, I write people. So yes, first person is, but most of I don't usually write in first person, but most of the jokes are in the dialogue. So those are first person just by nature of, so for me, yes.
I write physical comedy also, I mean, because to me that's also really funny. So
I mean, cheese balls.
and
that's funny.
cheese balls. I mean, what's not funny? It's rolled in nuts. Thank you. Yeah, but I find first person to be a little more difficult unless that's the funny person, and since usually my protagonists are the straight people, in the sense, the professional accordion players,
have to
who
keep
are not
going there.
funny. I do.
The word
Would you like to
professional is
share
funny.
something with the class, Faye? Not really.
I used to be
accordion.
married to an accordion.
Yeah.
You haven't lived till you've heard Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
I have to brag on Faye a little bit. She was talking. She wrote an essay once about her marriage, and the funniest line I think she ever wrote was, "I have celebrated consecutive birthdays during the course of a single drum solo."
Yeah. And as long as I'm butting in, I write 100% first person.
Because
Yeah.
you are telling the story.
And she's very funny.
And you're very funny.
Yeah, I think in creative nonfiction, definitely. But I also think that if you have an unreliable narrator, first person, that you can kind of make fun of because they have no idea how they're actually behaving. And so you can kind of play with that. I've done that kind of thing before. I have no examples that pop in my mind, but I know I've done it. I don't know how successful I was, but I think it can be done.
I haven't had enough therapy to write an unreliable. They're still living rent-free in my...
Just another question.
Sorry.
Okay,
Hi.
question.
Terrence, I came here to this session because I have a specific problem with my writing and voice. I came out, I transitioned at the age of 57. Prior to that, I was presenting as a lesbian, somewhat, butch. Kind of,
Softball player.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take Notaro's team.
And my humor was based on that identity.
Ah,
Oh.
that's
So,
interesting.
When I tell the same story that I have told at Moths or, in front of
Oh,
the
yeah.
it's not as funny and it doesn't seem to make sense, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have yet to be able to understand what I can do to kind of like recover those stories because they were funny.
Well, you could have a best friend named Heidi Abramowitz,
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it,
like Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
Your best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, because I mean the dichotomy between the masculine female energies of a butch lesbian just lend itself to a lot of, I mean, I think that recovering those old stories, I don't know, unless you wanted to write a short story from the point of view of a very butch lesbian and then tell all those jokes. God, there's got to be a lot of humor in hearing what men say when they don't think anyone who's ever had a woman's experience is around.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
Yes.
gotta be
No
funny.
kidding.
I mean,
Yes.
there's gotta be a gold mine of stuff in there. So I mean, it's what I'm saying is there's lots of stories you could tell. Recovering those old jokes, and I don't know. That's a very interesting.
Let's create new stories.
I think it's...
It sounds like a
it's
fantastic opportunity to play. To play basically with like new material, new experiences and stuff, and putting those together and seeing what you can also.
Goodbye to these.
Well,
I don't know about necessarily
no, I
goodbye.
think-
Say goodbye.
no, I
Or
think you
yeah,
might have
I mean,
to.
there's
write new ones.
Do you write fiction?
Live
I mean, is
ones.
that yeah? So there's so one of your characters is best friends with a butch
Absolutely.
dyke,
Yeah.
who has some stories to tell.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Hilarious! You're done. I mean, and then there you go.
That's what I mean about like playing with the old material
Yeah.
and the new, like,
And it's a buddy comedy. Now you've got yeah. I mean, I think that could be
Oh my, that
a
would be a
buddy
fantastic
comedy with a
buddy
trans
comedy,
man and a
actually.
butch dyke. I mean,
Yes.
I've never seen that before,
No.
and that could be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Some of these are strictly stories.
Questions?
What contemporary authors would you say are the funniest around today?
Oh, good question.
You mean apart from us?
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if you know Alan Bennett. He wrote The History Boys. He's my favorite writer, but he's very funny. But I don't know if that works here. Most of his humor is about growing up in Yorkshire in England, so I don't know if that means an awful lot to Americans.
Yeah, I'm just going to repeat. Jeanette McCurdy is
Yeah.
starting to. She wrote a memoir, and she's going to start writing now, just for TV and more into fiction. I cannot wait to see what she comes up with because she is just devilishly funny. Did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look, she's back.
Yep.
Thank you for taking my second question. There are so many different kinds of humor. I wonder if it makes. Do you stick with one kind of humor throughout a book or a narrative or whatever, instead of jumping from like absurdity to slapstick to wry to droll? Do you pick one kind of?
Is life like that? Do you find that your life is like one? No. I mean, I use it all. In one,
word?
absolutely.
Okay.
I feel that
I
just
can't
talking about
commit.
play. Yeah, like you can play
I
with
tend
it,
to I
like-
tend to write as I speak. I
You
mean,
can just imagine.
No, use it all. Use it all.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I also, I mean, yes, and I do think there is sometimes, there's you build the world of your story. So within a specific work, if your narrator is very droll and witty and it's all very dry humor, it's lovely to use that all the way throughout. And then, so throwing in absurdism in your third act might be a little like readers might go, what's going on now? If everything's been very
If you
realistic
haven't
up to
used
that
it
point.
consistently.
So there's the rule that I got from when I was doing my playwriting, and this is in turn, I don't know what the page limit or the word count equivalent would be, but he said if you're writing a play, you can do anything you want to in the first 10 minutes. But then you've set the rules of your play.
Right.
And if you break the rules after that, people are going to be mad. And he always pointed to It's a Wonderful Life. Because in It's a Wonderful Life, Clarence the Angel doesn't show up for 45 minutes into the thing after we've had this very realistic treatment of George Bailey in his life. But if you recall, the very first scene is God talking to the angel in
is like
space. And so the audience is like, okay, an angel could show up 45 minutes into it, and I will accept that. And that's the only reason why that scene is there. It's not funny. It's not, but it does it so that you plant the seeds early, and then you can do whatever you want to do.
Well, also, and I do agree with that, but then my mind goes to Ulysses. It's voted the #1 novel of the 20th century. If you read that, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It goes from just narration to there's 3 pages about him in the bathroom, and then it goes to a play, dialogue, it's insane.
Those people who voted for Ulysses are not fun to have dinner with.
Yeah,
I'm
they-
just saying.
Here's the reality. I haven't read it either.
No.
Don't try.
No.
No,
I can-
it's intentionally.
Okay, I can step in on the joke question.
Sorry.
Because I write everything and things that I read that actually happen and are possible. And if it's not possible, I say I felt like an iceberg hitting the Titanic, okay? But Dave Barry, who we all talked about, he talks about things that are not possible. He talks about his socks walking themselves across the room. Now, that's funny, but it's not possible. And when I teach a class in writing, I make a distinction between whether you want to talk about things that can happen or things that are so absurd but will make you laugh.
And what kind of process do you go through, Faye, when you're writing, if you're writing something for one of your anthologies versus a piece you're going to perform? Because there's what's funny when it's read aloud is different, because you control inflection
Yes,
and how people are going to hear it.
Oddly enough, all that is necessary between the written word and when I get up and perform is
A couple of cocktails.
editing things and words out. What is on the written page is often longer and has more words.
Because
than-
it has to,
It-
right?
Right. I mean, and the performing is like I speak. I was, sadly married to an accordion player, and you have to be like you talk. But there was not very much difference, and I got the idea to perform right here. Every year I would come and I would read my work, and people would laugh, and somebody suggested that I put it in a show. And so I did, and I was so surprised that my stories became sit-down humor. I didn't stand up. I sat down, and I had a script. But it was very similar. 5. We got 5 questions.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, I've been told that I'm funny, but if I try to write anything funny, I completely seize up. So, what sort of advice would you give for somebody who's, trying to write humor for the first time?
Marijuana.
Wait.
And do what Sukie does. Just do it to yours. Record yourself.
Yeah.
Tell the story and then
Tell the
transcribe it.
And don't
If you have a
overthink
funny
it.
story
Don't
to tell,
overthink it.
No.
tell it. And then, but if the writing part slows you down, then just tell it.
Tell the story.
And then have, your computer do a little quick transcribe of what you just, and then edit that until it works for you, and show it to people. I mean, if you're sharpening your funny bone, beta readers are the best thing for you. They'll tell you when a joke lands or when it's not funny or when you need to.
You want the acid test of really telling whether something you wrote is funny is listening to the audiobook. Trust me.
But I think too, like when when I like to write, but most of my humor stuff is like creative nonfiction. So like like fan and write, but I have fun. It depends on if I'm having a good time, if it is making me light up. So how when you're talking, like doing like stand up or something, and you can kind of feel it, like that electricity. The same, I look for that same thing when I write creative nonfiction. I look for that same feeling, that buzz, good feeling. That's a little bit different, but it's more like I was saying before, like it begins to feel like play. So if you're not having fun doing it, I think it's a great idea to like just record yourself. Like,
Well, there's nobody, because it sounds like you have a problem a lot of writers have. It's not just comedy. But there's nobody in the room when you're writing. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you fuck up at all.
Right, that's what I was going to say, is it's your first draft, no one's going to see it.
Yeah, nobody's going to.
you could write to a laugh track.
Right,
No,
That might be
and I say you just write like you talk.
Well, yeah, I
And
mean,
it'll be
you're your own audience in that.
What is this first draft you speak of?
A typical remark from somebody with a sad vagina.
I write
And
my
we're back.
books on
Thank you.
stone tablets.
I think do we have room for one quick more?
Have you ever written something that you didn't think was funny? Like people say, oh my God.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's called memoir.
The Ballad of the Sad Vagina.